All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening. Happy New Year to everyone. Let's see, One Drunk Man, first high of 2021. Cat Jam, thank you so much for the 5 months. Chillgam, thank you so much for the welcome back. Garlic, I'm not sleeping today. You should sleep if you have to. Thank you so much for the 5 months, Garlic. Hyphen looking nice. Hyphen looking great. Yes. Obsidian, thank you so much for your 10 months. Meowgo Hypers indeed. How's everybody doing? How has the turn of the year been for everybody? Start of a new week. First week of the year, huh? Because New Year's was basically the weekend. Crazy. If it had been a regular New Year's Eve, it would have been a huge party, right? So it's kind of bright, huh? I think that's better. But yeah, if it had been a regular New Year's, it would have been a huge party because you would get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. First week stuck watching CNN again. Oh, seriously, right? Look, actually, last year COVID was not like exactly a year ago. COVID was just being reported, right? So, hey Joe, hello. Hate going back to work. Yeah. Can't speak much for that because for me it's just been a constant stream of work for the past few weeks. Whether it involves the research I do or like the stuff I need to write and present, all that stuff. But yeah, it's for me it's just been a little bit of a constant grind. But so I can't relate to that specifically, but I bet it's a drag going back to work, especially for those of you who need to go back to more of a either like a more regular schedule or even not work from home. That's kind of a lot. Chillgam, thank you so much. But yeah, I hope everybody's been doing well and had a good end of the year, beginning of the year, and so on. I've been busy. Haven't streamed in about a week, actually. Yeah, sounds about right. About a week. I have news to share. First, I got declined partner again for the third time. This time was because I basically didn't stream enough the past month, apparently. It's funny because they say that you should average 12 times a month, but I streamed 11 times last month exactly. Like in the span of December 1st to December 31st, I streamed 11 times. So this time the viewership was not the problem. It was just the number of times. I don't know. It's kind of I find it very interesting how the Twitch's way of evaluating people is this metric based thing, but it seems a bit arbitrary, or I'm not very sure, but I mean, that's just the news. I'll probably reapply once I get on a regular schedule. I think that's the plan now. I think I've been reapplying based on sort of how I've been growing. Thor, thank you so much for the tier 1. Welcome back for 4 months. And this time I'm probably gonna reapply once I get back into a groove, get back into schedule. Not really a regular schedule, but it's definitely going to be like planned out. So I do have stuff like lined, kind of like panned out for the first month or so. And then Dennis Burchill, yo Dennis, thank you so much for gifting a tier 1 sub. To J is cool. Hello gamers. Hello Dennis. Are you back from work. I hope you had a good work day. No gifters avail. No worries, guys. So anyway, that's that. Let's see. Other announcements. Right now, my commissions are closed, but that's only for new commissions. So anything that has been already submitted, or that like I kind of had an idea of, like that people didn't like submit a form for, I already have that in the works. I only did that mainly because I have a big thing, like a deadline sort of thing, this Friday and then the next Friday. So I want to focus on that. I just want to focus on some of the work stuff. And then I missed what you asked me. Oh, how was your work day? Are you back home? Is what I asked. And yeah, so just gonna focus on those deadlines, try to do well in those, and move on from there. And then we'll have a more regular thing, and I'll have more boards to build. So there's that. Also, I figured, because at the beginning of the year there actually isn't so much activity, I saw the traffic sort of slow down, and so that's probably why. I just like lean towards closing commissions for now, but I'll be reopening them in a few weeks at the latest. All right, let's get started, shall we? So today we're going to be building a XENO. So you're saying we have to build our own keyboards now? Oh, no, you can still send. I mean, the thing is, even if commissions are closed, so if you know me, or if you talk to me on a regular basis, or at least if you talk to me, like if you just interact with me frequently enough, like you can always just PM me and be like, oh, like I have a board coming in, can I just send it to you? And even by the time you get to send parts, and by the time they get to arrive, it'll actually be already by the time my commissions are open again. And so yeah, I have a bug where no one can read messages in a channel I subscribe to unless I highlight them. So this is my only message for today. Have a great build? What? How is that even possible? You must be a dude to DM, I guess. You are a dude that you can... I am a dude that you can DM. You don't have to be on a dude basis. I just found out recently that you ran GMK Ultra R5. I did. Good to know that it went successfully. Thank you so much. Imagine being a dude. That's actually funny. I do wonder how people feel about the word dude sometimes. I actually call pretty much everyone dude. Yeah. So, like, all my friends, like, regardless of gender, unless they explicitly say don't call me that. But most people, like, when I've asked, most people have been like, oh yeah, like, I don't care. All right, so everyone is a dude. Not in the sense that I'm referring to like, oh, you're like male, or like, you know, like you're like male sex, but like I'm just trying to refer to, like, I just call people like, hey dude, like, how are you doing, and whatnot. We have a half aluminum plate here and a brass plate. We're gonna use a brass plate today though. It's pretty neutral IMO. I thought so too. That's what I think, but I think some people I have had people tell me that they didn't feel like it was gender neutral, and so obviously I respected that. But I was just wondering what people thought about it. Some people might just consider differently. New types, thank you so much for the 4 months. Gonna make peanut butter jelly sandwich. Yummy. And some C3 stabs. Not using a half plate. Yeah, they wanted to go for the brass look, and so we're going with brass today because they just wanted this, like. So we have these holy T1s. Oh wait, are these T1? Oh, they're non-translucent T1 housings. Very interesting. So these are Halo True stems in non-translucent T1 housings, and 63.5 slow springs, TX films, Lube with 205 in the housing, Tribosys 32.3 on the stem, and then 105 for the spring. Wow, that's a lot of different lubes. Very, very complicated. These are the plate screws, I think, or yeah, case screws and plate screws, because I had to desolder this before the end of the year. Oops, sorry about that. So there's that. Let's see. If y'all watch Good Burger, he's a dude, she's a dude, we're all dudes. I don't mind dude, just don't like dudette. Oh yeah, dudette does sound very forced. I agree with 10 Peaches. I actually call like, yeah, like I actually call everyone dude. I never say dudette. I think that's just kind of like, it's so uncommon that it does feel very forced. And especially like people normally consider generally like gender neutral. So yeah. Or at least the people I have interacted with. Picked up Celeste for $5 a few days ago. Easily 10 over 10. Everything's top match, and the music is a banger. Oh, very nice. I've heard very good things about the game. Do I have it? I'm not sure if I picked it up in a sale. But I've seen the gameplay. Like I've seen a few friends play it, and it definitely seems very challenging actually. Because I know it's like one of those like very non-forgiving, very unforgiving like platformer sort of. I'm not sure what to call it. I guess it is a platformer. But yeah, dude's a less age neutral word. If a kid calls me dude, it can be upsetting. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I do agree with that. I think there definitely is something about using kind of calling someone very like casually if they're young and you're much older than them. I do think that kind of feels a bit weird, especially I think like anyone who is like, for example, like, I mean, this is very relevant to like Korean people, let's say, like, because in Korea, like in Korean culture specifically, like people call each other depending, like, you know, like the denomination depends on like how, like, it depends on their age difference, and there's like formalities, like you can speak formally, you can speak more informally, and that varies a lot. And so like in those kinds of contexts, yeah, like if you called someone, or if you like talk to someone very casually and you're like much younger than them, they'll find it rude. So, but it's very different like in the US, for example, where people like speak in the second person basically, and address each other by name and with like fewer formalities. The learning curve of the game is like a right angle. Ooh, it's pretty fun but hella challenging. Yeah, it's interesting. My dad refers to a dude. What? My dad refers to a dude and it weirds me out. Or calls you a dude is what you're trying to say? Sorry, I'm just wiping this off because the person who actually should I wear gloves this time? The person whose board this is very particular about their brass. So I'm just wiping it down so it's not too smudged, but just to see what the condition of it is now. And we'll probably have to wipe it down again anyway because the switches probably have some lube remnants on them. So exclamation client. PCB looks so dirty because when I desoldered it, it had a bunch of flux on it, so it looks really dirty-ish. But I don't think it's a problem. It's only from the bottom side too, so actually it's not as noticeable on the camera either. But there definitely are like little like not skid marks, but like they're like flux being wiped off. All right, let's I actually already tested this PCB that I recall correctly, if I recall correctly, so we don't have to do that. There's a piece of shelf liner here that's currently in the bottom. So there's that. Yeah. Oh shoot, there are gifters today. Obsidian, thank you so much for gifting 2 tier 1 subs. And that's for you, Dennis. Yo, new hyphen talk poggers. Poggers. Hyphen is now a 75% keyboard. Finderworks suddenly has released both a 60% and a 75%. All right, cool. I don't think we need to test the PCB because I recall I did when I desoldered this. If you guys don't remember what the XENO looks like though, I can show you. It's a top mount case. So this is what the outside looks like from the top, and then the bottom looks like that. I guess I shouldn't have put the top piece on, but the bottom is a PVD rose gold brass weight. It's just very shiny, very reflective. Some machine marks in the circle and the circular areas there. Something that a lot of XENO owners already know about. Pretty nice bottom. It's silver, so there's no real like mismatching. That's just a reflection, probably just fingerprints. But the seams are pretty clean. Again, keyboard's kind of dirty, huh? But yeah. Let's see, catching up. If one is way younger than someone, they shouldn't call the older person dude. I agree. Want a raffle? You want a Mume in a gold colorway. Ooh, congrats on the first raffle win. XENO PCB do be looking nice. Oh man, the XENO PCB actually looks so nice. It's one of the nicer ones that I've seen out of Wilbus PCBs. Well, I like this art a lot. This character. I don't know what is this? Like a demon. It's like a little demon. Oh, it probably has to do with Juby. Oh, that's probably what it is. It's a demon indeed. Like Juby. Anyway, I'm here to ask a question. Sure. Saw your post and saw your transaction numbers. Thank you. PVD can be such a pain to keep clean. Oh yeah, PVD is always a pain to keep clean because there's like fingerprints. Hope you're having a great day. Love your TikToks. I don't have a TikTok. Sorry. I'm not even gonna. Okay, so that's just the copy pasta. Oh my god. I'm stuck between two 60% keyboards and don't know which one to choose. An AND Pro 2 or Royal Clutch RK61. I like the AND Pro more probably, actually. Yeah, I've heard good things about the AND Pro. I've seen people talk good things about the AND Pro. I'm a TikTok star apparently. How many TikTok followers do you need for a free keyboard? About, I think you would need 6,969,696 followers. Not bad, right? Just a few. Ban everyone. Okay, y'all. Y'all can stop the pastas now. But anyway. If you post the pasta again, you'll be. I'm gonna ban you, or I'll no, I'll probably time you out. But if you're extra annoying, I'll just ban you. Maybe I'll remove this for now, so people can see the weight. What is that thing? It's called, it's shelf liner. It's just a little piece of, oh, it's like foam, or I don't know what shelf liner is made of. It's basically foam though. Yeah, it is foam. It's like grid. It's like a foam grid, but you use it to line like your drawers and shelves and stuff, just for protection and stuff like that. Like people put it like in kitchen shelves and whatnot. Looks weird. It's just a grid of foam. It's so that it's easy to cut and stuff. Also because it saves material, most likely. Okay. Are you getting a kaze to review? No. Not that I know. If someone wants to send me a kaze to review, I would be happy to. I had a kind of sad occurrence just recently. So actually, I have someone who sent me a keyboard to build, but we're trying to find the package, which is really bad. But it looks like it's like lost, possibly, which is stuff like that happens, I realize, over the New Year's. And also it's like particularly worse because there's so much traffic right now, like with phone calls and whatnot. It's hard to reach USPS. Yeah, USPS is like hard to work with right now. I mean, not that they're not hard to work with any time of the year, but yeah, especially now is like not great. Let's see. We only need 1, 2, 3, 4 stabs, so we can probably put one of these away. T1's my favorite tactiles. Put 4 layers of shelf liner into my Noah to make it sound decent. It's a tin can? Damn. I didn't know that about the Noah because I haven't built one. I haven't seen one in person, but that's kind of crazy. One of my packages lost too? Oh, Pepe Hands indeed. Don't dunk on USPS. I got like 4 packages from them. Don't jinx them. No. I love USPS. I actually think the USPS provides the best service among the US-based couriers. So between UPS, USPS, and FedEx, I've had better experiences with USPS. I mean, and USPS. I've had better experiences with USPS than all the other ones. Yeah. Let's see, where's my lube? But that's just because I've also like figured out how to work with them. I know, like, you know, I print my labels. Like I'm much more efficient about utilizing USPS services. I like print my labels at home. I like drop it off and always get a receipt. Especially if it's an expensive item, I make sure to get a receipt. Or like I've told the person at the retail post office to save the receipt for me, which they do sometimes. Like I know my couriers, I tip my couriers, you know, like I make sure to like basically work with them rather than work against them. So yeah, that's kind of a big thing, I think, because they're at the end of it, they're just they're service people as well. So you you get a good treatment if you treat them well as well. Color coordination on the stabs, yeah, it's intentional. I had a package lost for like 8 months and randomly showed up in my mailbox one day. Actually, mail, I had something sent to me. I had a keyboard sent to me about exactly a month ago, and it just arrived. So it was, and this was coming from like the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, like DMV. So coming from Virginia to New York, it took a month. This was USPS prior to mail too. So that's the holiday season for you in the US, where same coast shipping can take up to a month, and then cross-country shipping can take anywhere from 2 days to indefinite amount of time. Tracking's not working for USPS Chicago is a nightmare. It looks like it's kind of shifting. Because for us, tracking was not working anywhere in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Like, if it reached any of those distribution centers, there was no updates after that. It looks like USPS is kind of like trying to figure out how to distribute. You're the person who walks to the counter and throws something random on the counter and says, I want to ship this, and then complains for 10 minutes about the price and speed. Oh my god, I've seen that so many times at the post office. Like, people who just come in and say, hey, so like, how do I ship this? Oh yeah, hold on, let me pull up the address. Like, they don't even have the address on hand. They're like, oh, I haven't even written it down. And they're like, basically holding up the line because they literally just don't know anything about postal services at all. Like, they don't know how to send like a letter even. It's like, oh, so like, can I use like the same postage that I use for like my, you know, check or something to send this like big ass envelope? It's like, no. It's like, only if it's under like a certain weight, yeah, but no, you can't. like you know, like a bubble mailer, and it's like, no, you can't do that. And then same with the boxy stuff. Oh, and like, they will pack stuff up in the flat rate, like envelopes or boxes that are available like in the lobbies of the post office, and then they'll come with it, and then they don't realize that they actually packed it up in like an express box, and then they're like, oh, so why is it so expensive? It's like, well, sir, madam, like, you just packed it up in an express box. It says express right there. But yeah, people do that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've had terrible experiences with FedEx personally. But that's just, I guess, like a personal thing. A lot of people have had bad experiences with FedEx, but yeah, for me, just in general, customer service for FedEx has been pretty lacking. Let's see. Had to be as fast as possible, since for me I was getting paid stop by stop, not per hour. That's insane. No wonder FedEx is so, like, can be so bad if your worker is getting compensated by stop, because that means they're just getting rushed to do it, as you're saying. That's just so bad. That's such a bad incentive for service. I would rather wait extra for a safe delivery than a potential miss because, you know, because the couriers were being, you know, flagged for whatever reason. Probably because they're rushing things and making mistakes, because it's inevitable. There's human error involved. So bought a mirror from someone. There wasn't any tracking updates for over a month. Sender and I opened multiple search requests and they all got auto closed. You never should open multiple search requests though. Only the sender and the receipt. Like, if the sender makes one, the recipient can make one too, but I don't think the same person should be making several search requests for the same stuff unless it's been resolved. That's been my experience so far for USPS search requests, because they eventually do get resolved. and do get looked over by the local post offices when you file it through the federal number, through like the general number. But the problem is that when people open up a bunch of claims that are about the same thing, it just clogs up the resources, like the human resources that are actually like looking into resolving each ticket. But yeah, sorry, I'm like really behind on chat because I'm like trying to lube and stuff. Favorite sounding feeling board of 2020? Tough to say, but I really like my Juby. Ion Juby was really good. So the same brand as this, same designer, Ion. This is their logo, and then the Juby was a 60% with macro columns on the left side. Was a very nice sounding and feeling board in my opinion. There are other boards like the K was good, the Ogre was good, like like this Hyphen is pretty good. Like I technically received this in 2020, but yeah. I tried the Keycaps number 2 revision 1 for the first time last year as well, and it was really good. The slip line was pretty good despite it having the plate alignment issue, which is an oversight, but way she goes. My experience, drivers are not getting paid enough to give a shit. Yeah, makes sense. Going to eat dinner, so if I don't ban anyone, that's why. No worries. I can ban people relentlessly, no issues. I mean, if anyone's being obnoxious, it's not a problem. You can continue to be obnoxious, and I'll just let you be. And then when you realize no one's doing anything, then I'll just ban you. I should kind of run it like some other popular just chatting Twitch streamers where they like chat's like moving super fast, and it's only when they're looking at chat when they like just ban people like crazy. They're just like, oh, let me look at chat for fun, and it's like a bunch of like weird ass spam, like like weird ass copy pastas and shit, and you just take breaks to ban people in chat. Gonna do some gaming. Hope the build goes smoothly. Cal cash the bot. Thank you so much, Lana. Have a good game sesh. Goes to post office without a box and has to buy tape and buy the label. Yo, buying tape at the post office is such a scam because it's, I mean, like you're paying like $3.50 for the roll, but it's like the roll's like super thin tape. The tape is not particularly great quality. Like it's actually okay quality. It's a nice kind of like it's kind of stretchy. So it's actually not bad tape, but it's expensive for the amount of like footage that you get for the roll. It's like the small rolls of packing tape. But I mean that's how they get you, when you don't take any packaging stuff. And like they make you buy all that stuff. The Easy Post stuff or whatever. I forget the brand, but it's like the one with the blue background and white letters. It's like similar to USPS like logo colors, but it's like a different name. It's like their retail brand or whatever. What's the difference between slow sprit springs and the fast ones? Yeah, so what Grog Hunter just said, it's that they're preloaded and they basically slow basically means that it will the weight will build up slowly. Which means that you press more distance with less force at first, and then it like ramps up. It's kind of like a curve. Like curves up. So a lot of the resistance comes towards the latter part of the travel rather than perfectly linear where basically a certain amount of force equals a certain amount of displacement. Does that make sense? Am I being too am I sounding like a physics teacher? basically it means a non-linear spring, actually. That's basically what it is. It's a non-linear spring. They weren't open at the same time. Oh, the tickets, I see. Only FedEx Express are paid per hour. Yeah, right. FedEx Express is like the nice service, right? So it makes sense. And it's also like a lot of it is like international too. FedEx Express stuff. It's like the EMS equivalent. Random question: does palm generally feel mushy? Palm what? Raz. Palm for what? Like palm is a plastic, but palm for what though? Keycaps, switches. Like what? Palm in what? Cases, like plates. Like I'm not sure. It feels bouncy. I'm not sure about mushy though. I think mushy could be maybe because of the. It's probably a combination of your switch and the plate. Like because it's bouncy. Let's say like your plate is already bouncy, but your switch, like when you maybe it's lubed a lot. Like maybe it's like lubed heavily, or maybe like when you bottom out, you just has a bit of like the cushioning from the lube or just from the switch behavior itself, and then the bounciness kind of makes it seem even mushier. How do you spell the K in P? What? The K in P keyboard? What? Ready pose. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Lightning best physics teacher. I actually did consider becoming a not like university level, but like a high school or like like a high school level physics teacher. I've kind of considered that before, because actually the reason why I started liking physics was a combination of my high school class was actually very bad for physics, but it actually still, like, the teacher was still like able to pique my interest in it just enough that like when I went to college, I actually went to college thinking I was gonna study chemistry or philosophy, and I took a physics class with calculus, and the professor was just really like, he was so like eloquent and stuff. He was a great teacher. He actually became my main mentor like in college. Like I did research with him and whatnot. But he was like really eloquent, like really well spoken, and like really like kind of like inspirational. And I fell in love with physics in my first general physics classes, and I majored in physics at the end of everything. Always pre-make labels and order pickups. Saves me so much time and don't need to leave my house. I actually can't do pickups, Vinkeys. If I schedule a pickup, they never come. I've done it so many times. I've tried it so many times. I've never gotten a proper pickup. Probably because this is New York City, where like there's so many apartment buildings and whatnot. Like if everybody scheduled pickups, like it would just take forever. And I don't think they just don't have the staff to do it. I just don't think they actually have enough people to do pickups at like specific intervals. So I have never been successful with pickups in the US. But it's still linear. It's like kind of linear, yeah. Like slow springs are like macroscopically sort of like your fingers still sort of feel like it's linear, but the buildup in the resistance that you feel like from the spring, like like the spring force, feels a little bit non-linear. So it is like a non-linear spring technically, but in like the overall feel, it's still like it's still linear. Specifically, it has to do because there's no bump, like there's no specifically like in a linear switch, is because there's like, you know, in a tactile switch, right? Like the travel gets interrupted by the physical bump, right? But the spring is the same. Like, you know, the spring in a tactile switch is no different from a spring in a linear switch. Oh, slow springs aren't progressive? Oh, I see. Okay. I must have confused the terminology. I apologize. Oh, Mr. Alex, a toss. Or as Mr. Wilba would say, Alex Otos. Sort of. Well, anyway, welcome people from Alex's stream. How are y'all doing? I hope you all had a good turn of the year. And that you've started with a good first week. Wow, 190 viewers. There's so many people. Technically, no springs are linear because Hooke's law is a lie. Very true, Nixie T. Yeah, I mean, F equals negative kx, right? But if you convert that to, I mean, basically, like, if you integrate or differentiate, it's a nonlinear function. It's like either a constant or a nonlinear function, right? So anyway, Terrence, hello. Super Switch, ¿qué onda? Hello, hello. Why have I not followed already? I've been here before? Maybe you just forgot. Oh, love you, buddy. Thank you so much, Alex. I love you too. I really appreciate it. How's your stream, Alex? What do you do today? I actually didn't even realize you were streaming today. Or like earlier, rather. I didn't check Twitch before I hopped on to stream. I'm kind of like, I'm a man on my mission right now, and I only have time for the work I've been doing the past few weeks and streams every now and then like the rest is just like sustenance, so like eating and like resting. But yeah, that's been me the past few weeks though. It's been kind of bad. My schedule's flipped over too. Like I've basically been sleeping at like 8 a.m. and waking up at like 2 p.m. This PCB is gorgeous. Yeah, well, but PCBs, man, so good. I didn't expect to get schooled tonight. We don't have to talk about it if you don't want. I actually should review some of my fundamental physics stuff. It's stuff that I should really know by heart, which I think at some point I did, but I'm a little bit rusty. Especially at a level where I can like teach it. Gerald Juby, hello. Bro, I signed up for keyboards, not physics lessons. I mean, keyboards are there's a lot of physics going on in keyboards that if you understand the first principles of physics, you can understand keyboards in a deeper and more meaningful way, because it would actually help you understand what's going on with the movements and forces and interactions among objects inside of your input device. An ensemble playing in harmony as you type away on monkeytype.com. So do you think the orientation of progressive springs matter? The orientation of progressive springs, do they matter? Let me think about this, because because when you put a spring in a switch, the anchor point is actually the bottom housing. So if you had a coil, I think it would matter, but I'm not sure if at the scale of a switch, a mechanical key switch spring, which is very small, I'm not sure if it would matter too much, because your fingers are capable of pushing springs so easily, at least at the weights that people are right now commonly using, that I'm not sure if we would be able to discriminate the orientation part of it as well. But I guess in all technicality, the orientation would matter because the anchor point for the spring is at the bottom housing, and so like if you have fewer coils, right, like fewer turns of the spring at that part versus more, and like you flip that over, they technically would be different for how you would feel the force of the spring acting on your finger or acting on the stem. Sorry, I'm like going off right now, but yeah. Lectures are a hit or miss always. Just getting the big idea, the big picture is the most important part. We built that Morgreworks Devil Rock keyboard, definitely interesting. Dude, I have to look at that. I actually don't remember. Morgreworks Devil Rock. It rings a bell, but I'm bad with names. Is Dio going into physics stuff? This was one of my grill boards when I first got into the hobby. The XENO. I like the XENO a lot still. I think it looks great. Why are we talking about physics? I'll end up sleeping? Damn, is that boring? It shouldn't matter. I don't think it matters at the scale of key switches. How much per hour of tutoring? I actually used a tutor. My tutoring rates were not cheap. You know, like tutoring for like SAT or like AP tests and stuff. That stuff ain't cheap, yo. Do that in like the Northeast, like in like where it's like boarding school prime. Yo, like parents will pay hella money for tutoring. So that their kids can go into good colleges and stuff. How does the spring know which way it's facing? Well, I mean, the spring doesn't know because it's not sentient. It starts compressing at the same side no matter what? Yeah, which is the... Well... So you're saying that... Maybe you're right. I should probably think about this again. The only way it might matter is if the spring is binding on something. Well, I thought that because the spring was technically like stuck on to the bottom part, right? Anyway. Alright. Side with the lowest weighting. Think about that. I still think the XENO is one of the best looking 75s. I agree. I fell in love with the XENO when Poner first released a few of his renders, and I was like, man, I gotta have that 75%. It looks great. And I remember wanting it so much, and I eventually obviously got it in a group buy, and I still like it. I think it's one of the better looking 75% out there. Of course, I think the way Poner imagined the XENO is probably different from the way it turned out, just based on the whole manufacturing stuff, of course. But I think as a design, it's still a pretty lovely keyboard. Rightly so, tutoring is a lot of work. It's a lot of work if you have, when you're held accountable for the fate of this, kid you're tutoring. Because if they don't do well, it definitely falls on you. Especially like if it's a bit of a long-term sort of thing where they're expecting the results to show in like their testing and whatnot. It's a big risk sometimes. But yeah, parents will pay a lot for tutoring though, for many reasons. In Maryland, it's like $200 an hour. Holy crap! But actually, that sounds about right. I've charged less, but yeah. It's not stuck anywhere. It's under compression. Well, the reason why I was thinking about the spring in a different way was because I thought that the force was being like a, if you could think of the force being applied as a point, it's being applied from the top part. But you're not wrong in that the spring compression happens on both sides because of the normal force. And it'll probably start collapsing at the part with the fewest coils, or at the part where there is least resistance. Actually, more coils does not mean more resistance, so, but yeah. Gotta go help get some stuff ready for the Reyes Magos that are coming tonight. That's right. Today's the 5th. Oh man, I haven't had not sure if y'all have tried a thing called Rosca de Reyes. It's like a bread that people eat like back home in Mexico on the 6th, which is the day, I don't know what it's called, Epiphany or something. And I'm not sure what it's called in English. I think it's Epiphany, but that's basically what it is in Spanish. But it's basically the day that we believe that the 3 kings or whatever bring gifts to children, and you know, that's like the day that they, I don't even remember. I forgot. I'm not very religious anymore. Something about them coming to Bedlam, but yeah. But yeah, Rosca de Reyes, good stuff. I haven't had it in years. I miss it. I miss having Rosca de Reyes every year. Physically cannot compress anywhere else but the lightest winding, unless, as I said, the spring is binding. Haha, intentional rhyme there. Spit in some lines. Fuego, thank you so much for the tier 1. Welcome back for 5 months. Haven't had Rosca since last year? Holy crap, I haven't had Rosca since like 10 years ago. It's basically a second Christmas? Yeah. For some people it's like the better Christmas. But yeah, I think it kind of depends on the family. I only got one gift for Christmas, or like the holiday season, as a kid. Obviously, because my parents probably couldn't afford giving 2 separate gifts. But yeah, it was good times. It's also a good way for parents to disguise. Oh, I mean, but you know, it's a good way for good way for gifters to say like, you know, have an excuse to gift on that second date, because they maybe they couldn't manage to do it on the first. Second chances. The day they visit the little baby man Jesus. All right. Oh, that's right, because it's after the birth. Duh. I'm an idiot. The belief is that 3 wise men bring kids gifts. Yes. Some dank gifts like PlayStations and GameCubes. Oh, sorry, back in the day. If them kids be lucky. But I think one time I got a Hot Wheels thing. One time I got a, what did I get? I think I got a Beyblade. I think. The 3 wise men will bring me a key cult number 1. Oh, too bad it's currently... Key cult number 1 is, I think the TKL is the only one that's currently in production, right? The revision 2. Rosca de Reyes though. Oh yes, baby Jesus. That actually reminds me. Do you guys know? So in this Rosca de Reyes, so in Rosca de Reyes, it's like it's like the sweet like bread, right? Basically, if you are eating Rosca de Reyes with like friends and stuff, or like family, whoever, there's a little plastic figurine, basically like baby Jesus, inside of the bread, right? If you basically get the figurine, because normally like you cut the this donut wheel, whatever, cake, I'm not even sure, you know, into pieces to distribute them to people, right, to eat. If you get the one with the baby, basically, you / your family have to prepare tamales or bring tamales for everybody else the next month, like on like February, what's the day of the Candelaria? I forgot. It's like February something. But yeah, basically like it's a way to pick who brings the tamales that year, and people have tamales and pozole the next month for the next gathering. Good stuff, right? That's truly RNG. And sometimes there's when the bread thing is huge, February 2nd, thank you. When the thing is huge, sometimes there's more than one of those, so many people can be selected for it. Crazy stuff. That's a cool tradition. My family's traditions, whoever gets a figurine has to pay for next year's Rosca. That's pretty good too. Has anyone eaten the baby? No, because the baby is like decently sized. It's like yay big. So like you would know that you like stumbled upon plastic in the middle of your, you know, cake piece or whatever. Yeah. I only remember that because it's on my birthday. Oh, well now I know. Cool. Cool. Hot Wheels Beyblade sounds like my childhood. Yeah. Those were nice toys too, though. I often didn't get like gifts, like a lot of gifts. We actually got a lot of collective gifts, like my brothers and myself. So it's something that we can all use and stuff, and we would just get one gift for all of us. So I think the biggest ones have been the Nintendo 64 was a big one, and the PlayStation 2 was the second biggest one, I think. Those consoles were amazing, you know. I'm being all nostalgic, but yeah, Nintendo 64 and PlayStation 2, some of the two of the best consoles of all time, I think. I have those Tamiya 4x4 cars that you need to assemble and can be modified. Oh, fun. Assembling stuff, yeah, or like Legos. But Legos are actually not cheap, as you might know. Okay, Diego, I think the Wii is better. No way. No way. The Nintendo 64, PlayStation 2, and GameCube like dominated. I mean, the Xbox too, but I actually never got an Xbox. I know that a lot of people kind of grew up with Xbox, but I didn't. I just visited friends to play Xbox. Like, I had a friend who had an Xbox, and the only way for me to play it was when I like went to his house to play it. C3 or Durox stabs? These are C3 stabs. These solid looking ones. I think Durox stabs are all translucent. It can be rigged. Oh yeah, some people know where the figures are. Yeah. You tread lightly when eating because you know you might get the figurine so you don't lose a tooth. Truth. N64 Gold, but the PS2 has Persona 3, so it's a toss-up. I think there's better games on PS2 than Persona 3. PS2 had such good games. Devil May Cry, Onimusha, like Final Fantasy X, Shadow of the Colossus. Man, the list goes on and on and on and on. N64, of course, like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Banjo-Kazooie, like obviously like just a regular Super Smash Brothers. There was just so much good stuff. on both the N64 and the PS2. The GameCube, I only got it later on. I actually bought the GameCube with my own money when I was a kid, because basically my parents would not buy like another console for us, and so I just saved up to buy the GameCube myself. I didn't get a console after my Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo had some great games too, like A Link to the Past, Super Mario World, like the Kirby games, Castlevania. Ooh, Castlevania, that's a good one. Castlevania series. Melee or GTFO? I understand the fandom of Melee. Melee, it makes sense that you're a big fan of because of the competitive scene. And also just because it has a lot of the replayability, because it's like a, you know, fighting game. But I'm personally more keen on other games too, though, like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. I've only named 2, but I had a lot more. God of War, Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear, very good, yeah. I played Metal Gear on PC, though. Lego is not cheap. If someone judges me for spending 100 on keycaps, I can remind them that I know they would spend that much on Legos. Oh, that's a very good argument, actually, Chillgam. People who spend on Legos versus people who spend on artisan keycaps. That's actually a very big brain comparison. There's merits to both of them, and they're both made out of plastic. Of course, one is mass-produced, and one is like, you know, there's like assembly kind of thing, and it's one's like much more part of like pop culture, but essentially paying dollars for plastic, and it's quite expensive. Is it required to use the O-ring to O-ring the screws for the screw-in snaps? No, it's not required. I just do it out of precaution. All of those games got ported, but Persona 3 still stuck on the PS2. That's the thing. I'm not talking about consoles as like whether they got ported or like whether they have like homebrew solutions and whatnot. I'm just saying like the merits of these consoles by themselves, and they're like the games that came after them. My parents refused to buy us consoles growing up. Yeah, we never had one in the house until my brother bought the PS3. Well, so I have 2 older brothers, and they grew up on like the Game Boy and the Super Nintendo, and so gaming was such a huge like unifying thing in my family, like especially like how like us 3 like brothers interacted and stuff. So yeah. What's that keyboard up there? Exclamation keyboard. This client or yours? This is my keyboard. This is a client's. You're not using the stickers? No, I'm not. I don't think I need to. What's the logic for having different lube for housing and stem? I mean, different lubes have different viscosity, so some people might want, like more viscosity for certain parts than others. Like for example, like the stem is the part that moves the most, but the housing, maybe like sometimes the housing is like scratchy or something. I don't know. It's just experimentation in the end. It's like you just play around with it and see how it turns out. But yeah, I mean, basically it's just, I personally don't really mix lubes because I really don't think that it makes a huge difference. But some people can, like, you know, would swear by it, and that's okay. And sometimes it's just an experiment, so. Not only artisans and GMK sets are limited, it gets to be used if the owner isn't a reseller to make a profit. I mean, there's hella resellers for Legos, if you think about it. I mean, the whole Lego market is actually super interesting to think about. Like, the whole, like, collecting UCS stuff, and, like, yeah, I don't know, like, people price Legos per block, right? Like, it's like the price of the tortilla. It's like a basis for, or like a price of a barrel of oil. It's like this fundamental pricing device or item with which you can price, like with which you can measure like the market's performance or something. I don't know. Right now, my words are not coming out right, I think. I do have to go now. Now I was hanging out for a bit. Have a great rest of the stream. Thank you so much, Super Switch. Have a good rest of your evening. Thank you so much for stopping by. Speaking of GMK sets, GMK Dolch grew on me. It feels bad, man. At least I can see it on your streams. Yeah. Well, I mean, I have the original Dolch, yeah, and the GMK Dolch set from a previous group buy. GMK Dolch R5 won't ship until much later. GMK Dolch R5 will ship in basically Q3 of 2021. What switch film would you recommend to make the creams more thockier? I personally would not even film creams personally, because I think so the purpose of switch films, Magnificent Michael, at least for me, in my perspective, is that they just eliminate the wobble between the top housing and the bottom housing. Basically, when you open these and these stretch a bit, they have there's a bit of wobble, and switch films basically are a gap filler, so they eliminate that wobble by adding a bit of material between the two. So for me, that's the function of the switch film. I don't think it really changes sound properties. Some people can swear by it. I mean, yeah, actually no, it does change the sound properties, but would I say a certain switch film makes things thockier than others? I would say, for me, I felt very indifferent about it. Some people would say Desky's switch films will do that because of the material being a foam material, and it dampens a bit more of that impact from the bottom out. Personally, however, I haven't found it to be very significant, or at least not enough that I would discriminate the two. But that's just because I'm a bit more indifferent about how I configure my switches. For me, switch films are just a tool to eliminate that wobble, and that's it. That's all I care about for switch films. So whether you use TX or Desky's, for example, is fine. I use both, I alternate both without any issues. People will tell you, or people will say a lot, that the Desky's tend to dampen a bit more, or kind of deepen the sound a bit more because of the dampening, but I'm personally, I can't say that's the case for me. Some Lego sets are limited? Yeah, all the Ultimate Collector sets. I think there's two Lego things that I want. The Superstar Destroyer is one. I think that's it, actually. The only oh no, and the Millennium Falcon. Those are the only two Lego sets I want in existence. The Superstar Destroyer is my favorite one, but I know that hasn't even been reproduced. So the Millennium Falcon, though, has been reproduced in that new UCS form, right? Which is basically an improved version of it. But I haven't seen the Superstar Destroyer get reproduced for Legos. Anyway, I explained the GMK flipping market to my friends by comparing it to Lego. I think I read that, but yeah. I don't understand the Lego market, however, enough to say oh, this is how I would explain it to my friends. But I mean, I think people think it's a good way to compare it, because there's a basis for the way the markets work. Chillgam, Q3 shipping, that gives me time to save up for hopefully extras. Well, our pre-order is currently out. I actually don't know. If you go on to projectkeyboard.com, right, you can use my affiliate link if you want, by hitting ! sponsors. You can check if the pre-order for GMK Dolch has already run out. It's not cheap though. So those are the extras, and that's at extras pricing. That's going to be the extras pricing. So if you want to secure your set today, if they're available right now, you can. If not, then you'll have to wait until they are shipping. Yeah. Is there such a thing as SA Dolch? I believe there's a SA Dolch, like SA Profile Dolch, through Max Key. Is one of the SA Profile manufacturers. But I'm not sure if Signature Plastics ever made a SA Dolch. That NES Lego set is so cute. Oh, NES Lego set is also pretty cool, yeah. I don't follow Lego enough to tell you too much about it, though. So, I apologize if I say something wrong about it. So, I think I miscalculated the position of this switch. I might have to pick up a Dual Char 5 set now. Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to miss out when the extras happen, when they ship, yeah. It's a good idea if you do that now. So tactile, but I don't hear any rattle, so that's good. Spooky boy, what is up? Hello. Diego, if TKOs didn't exist, what's the 160% you'd settle for? I mean, I like a lot of the 60% out there, so I'm pretty open to whatever. I think HHKBs are always great. You can't go wrong with them. So if I wanted to go for something cheap and available, I think a lubed HHKB Pro 1 would be fine with me. I also have to save for new mic. New mic? What are you doing? New singing show? Just kidding, but recording stuff. Need to make your voice sound better during gaming sessions. There might have been some ticking on the left side of the spacebar. Okay, I'll check that in just a second. Something's like clacking, sort of, yeah. Let me just see if I tighten it. Tighten these accordingly. Let's see. Okay, and maybe we can use the syringe method and inject some lube in there. it might actually have to do with this switch not being seated properly. Because when I press on it, it's a little bit better. Or the plate, rather. Was it the spacebar? It's not rattling, but there's like a ticking sound for sure. Whoa. I just bought the same syringes today. Oh, nice. Yeah, I ordered some after watching Nathan's video because I was like, oh, I can use a syringe. Why not? It's easier than using a brush sometimes. Sometimes I actually prefer the brush because it helps me get the actual tip part and like brush it over it instead of just filling it up. But I don't think it matters too much. So I'm trying the syringe just because yeah, it's easier to manipulate too. Maybe the spacebar though. I think I want to try a different spacebar too. Transferring into the syringe seems like a pain. Yeah, that is true. I mean, well, if you don't have enough lube especially, it's a pain. If you have enough lube, then you just accumulate the lube onto one part of the container, and then you pull, like, you know, just like a regular syringe. Will that work with how thick 205G0 is? If you really submerge it in lube, yeah, you can definitely pull the lube into the syringe. I don't know what that sound is. Sounds like plastic. I'm not sure what that sound is from. Possible warped wire? Oh, that would suck. I'm not sure if I have any gold wires. The wire looks okay as far as straightness goes. As far as straightness goes, that wire looks fine. Oj Poj, hello. Got my syringe for ringer keys. Comes with super lube in it. Oh, I see. Can't have the needle on it when you suck it in though. Much easier without it. Yeah. You should do it without. Yeah. You should not be using the needle to pull the lube. You should just be sticking either the feeder. There's a feeder tube that sometimes is included, or just directly. Try different profile spacebar. Spacebar ribs hitting the switch top or stab top. That's something I was thinking about too. I was like, maybe it's just the way the spacebars are. I'm trying to think where though. I was thinking maybe it was this the second part here is hitting, but can't really see why the left side would hit and the right side wouldn't though, because that wouldn't make sense. But I can always try just seeing if there's anything wrong here. Seems okay to me though. Stab looks just fine. Good night, good luck with buildings. I think it's a plate. What? It's gone now. The fuck? Was it just not seated properly? Could be the switch. Yeah, maybe the switch wasn't seated perfectly. Because I did press this, like, again. So maybe it is the switch. I think it's the plate, though. No, I definitely hear something here. But... well, just one of those random things? Yeah, it kind of seems to be. Might just be that I'm super focused on it and now I'm like hearing things instead of actually being... Because it seems fine, but I wouldn't be too troubled personally. Like, this would be fine for me. But yeah, it doesn't seem like troubling. I mean, I can always try adding lube from the front part. Seems fine. Yeah. I think I'm just imagining things. Someone said that it might have been ticking, and so I took a look, and maybe it's just make-believe. I think it's fine. Or maybe it's the spacebar, but... yeah. Okay. We can proceed. Also, the thing about tactile switches is that they're so loud already that they kind of mask everything out. When you use tactiles to, like, especially like the hyper tactile stuff, like Holy Pandas, they're so clacky and loud that justice for Diego. Oh, Zamamon, thank you and good night, man. I'm not sure if there's justice needed. Whatever. If you're referring to the Twitch thing, a check mark is not too important, but I just want to stop applying for it. Like, as in, I don't want to reapply for it over and over again. I've thought, did I write a bad cover letter? Because they ask you to write like basically like what your stream is about. They basically ask you like, oh, like tell us about what your stream and your community is like, and like, you know, basically like what you do. And like basically it's basically like a cover letter, okay? Like the partner application process is basically like a cover letter. And like I've obviously written that like 3 times now, and I've been like, oh, do I need to, how differently do I need to write it each time? Is it the letter that's wrong? But I don't really think it's like bad. So it's not like I'm being like, oh yeah, F Twitch, but partner me. It's just funny though. Oh, Limel 1. I should hydrate. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Aaron, what arm? Flex arm S, flex arm L do you use with your Elgato Master Mount to hold your top-down cam? Oh, I see. I used whatever was the longest one available. Flex arm S. Actually, let me look it up really quickly because I need to confirm it for you. Oh yeah. Yeah, I got the flex arm and the master mount. So I just got the longest one available for the flex arm. Yeah, because I needed to cover a lot of horizontal distance. So yeah, I used the longer one. But now I'm not using it anymore. I'm using a C stand right now because I made room for the C stand, and someone was actually very kind to help provide one, and so I got a C stand now, so I'm not using the Elgato stuff. Well, actually, I'm using the Elgato stuff for lighting. Actually, right now it's holding a light. Any update on the new table? No update other than the fact that it should ship in late January to early February. The pouring sound is so good. Water pouring ASMR stream. Basically like a little river sounds. Like, you know, like those like Buddhist temple with the water like mill or like the water wheel, and that has like the little bamboo thing that like does like clunk every so often when after the water pours on it. It's like that. Standing build streams coming soon? That would be kind of cool actually, huh? I actually probably would do it, yeah. Standing build streams would be okay with me. Because, yeah, sometimes I really do get tired of just being seated the entire time. But the most important part for that is cable management. I need to be really good at cable management, and I actually suck at cable management, so it's gonna take me a little while to set that up. I'm gonna have to become cable management smart for that. I really am not very good at cable management. I've like wasted so many hours trying, and it turned out to be about the same as before when I started. This is time before I started, so yeah. The accuracy of that description. Every temple has those, yeah. Calming water bamboo water fountain sort of thing. Are hyperglides any good in your opinion? I've only seen one batch of them, and those were okay actually. Those were pretty good. I've heard mixed reviews though. I've heard some people say, "Oh, I had to I had to discard like 30% of the ones I bought because they didn't feel the same as the other ones." So I think the current consensus on hyperglide switches is that they still can be, they are definitely smooth, they are very much definitely smoother than all the like quote-unquote retool. I mean, basically it's a new retool, right? It's just retooling the current tooling. That's basically what hyperglides are, right? But that people are saying like they're basically like fresher slash smoother. However, there still is like variance to be expected from buying them. So like you should, so people who are very picky about it, I am not very picky, okay? I personally, if I need enough for a TKL, I just buy 90 and that's it. I don't cherry pick crap. I just lube them all, just put them in. Eventually after I use them enough, they'll, you know, I won't be able to tell the differences. Like once you put them into a keyboard and you start typing away on it, you don't notice, you forget about it. So I don't cherry pick. I don't bother. I'm too lazy for that. I can't be bothered. It's just too much work, and it's also like another like way more expenses. So yeah, I'm not gonna buy 30% more switches just because I want to cherry pick. And then what am I gonna do with the rest? Throw them in the trash? Oh yeah, you can use them for Franken switches, but too much work, man. It's just extra work piling on. I cherry pick placement. Shittier switches just go on function keys and numbers, and the good ones go on alphas. I do that a lot, yes. So if while I'm like testing switches like randomly like this, and like I feel that like a switch is not good, I put that in the key that I don't use frequently. Yes, I do that too, Mr. Petrov. But I do that like very subconsciously. I just like as I'm like working with these switches, like I just like put them in the place where I think it's the right place. But for the most part, it doesn't matter as much because in the grand scheme of things, once you start typing on it, you can't tell it all averages out. So it all becomes part of the overall typing. Okay, I need to put 2 more switches, but I just need to figure out the placement for it. Okay. One, 2. Alright, I think that's it. I'm just gonna check my placement of these. Do I have 1.25 views here? I should have some in the bag I just had. Caps on the green board, Imsto Irish. Okay, great. Cool. Sorry, the amount of people that ask me to cherry pick for customers is too damn high. Oh, that's right, Vinkeys. You sell stuff like that, right? So, yeah. Yeah, it's too much work. Too much work. Too much work for very little, like very few benefits. I really don't think the return is that great on it, on cherry picking. Like, unless it's like 2 completely different batches that get put into like the same bin, and you're actually just telling apart really bad from really good, or unusable from unusable and usable. Unless that's the case, I think that yeah, you can't. Like, it's kind of pointless. Do you see the IC on the Milky Top Gat inks? Yeah, I did. But I'm not even sure if is it gonna happen anytime soon. Haven't seen it progress any forward since the interest check sort of opened. I suppose they're still in the planning process. Everyone becomes Rain Man when cherry picking switches. Thoughts on the Constellation keyboard? I thought the Constellation was really nice. I think it's a great I think it's a great like test bench for you to try out different things. For specifically just to like because it has so many options for you to like do plate like different mounting systems, and there's also like ways of you know, like different mounting systems. There's different plate materials and whatnot. There's a lot of experimentation you can do with the Constellation, which is great. And also it's a very like solid board. Like it's heavy. It just types very nicely. Overall, I had no issues with the Constellation. Like, of course, the build that I did was with AE boards, the AE Navy switches, which for me, I was like kind of neutral on them. Like I thought they were a bit more tactile than I thought they would be, and also I just kind of like was like I'm not sure if I'm going to use these switches specifically. Had I built that Constellation with different switches, maybe I would have been able to tell you more about it, about like the specific build. But as a board, the Constellation was pretty good. I want to know nothing. Yeah, so the Constellation is a 65%, offers different ways to mounting this is the PCB and plate assembly, different ways of mounting this assembly. For example, this one uses top mount, which is these tabs with the screw holes, so you basically mount it to the top case. There's like sandwich mounting, where it basically just gets sandwiched between the top and the bottom case. And then there's like O-ring gasket mounting, which is you use an O-ring, like a rubber O-ring that goes around in between the PCB and the plate, and then it mounts by basically friction, by compression. They're doing protos right now, I see. Only switches I'm gonna cherry pick are the Krytox browns for testing, because people say they're inconsistent AF. Yeah, I actually do remember using some Krytox switches, and they were definitely inconsistent. And so that's okay to cherry pick. When you're cherry picking good from unusable, that's fine. That's fine to do. But if you're cherry picking between good and slightly better, I don't bother. Yeah. Okay. Just check that everything's okay. Lining wise. Okay, I think we're good to solder. So let's heat up our soldering iron. Drink some water. I find that making sure I don't overloop the stem ledge and hence destroy the upstroke sound is way more important for sound than anything else in the switch. Mr. Petrov actually brings up a very good point. I personally like lubing the top ledge of the part that causes the upstroke sound. Yes. I personally I prefer to lube that part. Some people don't, though. Hugo Key's trying to quote me here, huh? That's fine. What I'm saying is, it depends on you, like whether you're picky enough to do it. I think I have like What's your mouse? It's an MX Master 3. Exclamation mouse. Oh, I think it doesn't show the right mouse. I think I'm gonna change it up. Where is the command sheet? I think the command right now says the G Pro wireless, but I actually use a MX Master. Let's see. But yeah, I use an MX Master 3. All right. Not true gamer anymore. I still have my G Pro wireless around. Is the stem ledge the back of the stem or the front where the legs point out? No. What Mr. Petrov is referring to is this part here. It's this part right here. This part. This top part here. Like this part here is the upstroke ledge. This thing hits the upper housing, right? The top housing when it comes back up. That causes the sound, right? This ledge here. So lubing basically up here like this is going to eliminate a lot of the upstroke sound, and then lubing this part right here is going to eliminate a lot of downstroke sound. Yeah. You gotta lube it, but lightly, so it's not totally muted on the upstroke. Yep, I agree 100% with Mr. Petrov. I try to lube just a small, like a very light coat. Basically, like one brush pass when my brush does not seem to have lube is what I apply. But yeah, I mean, you can just open up a switch and look at it carefully to see what parts are touching where. And that kind of gives you an idea of what to lube and where to lube. Oh, let me get my fan. Forgot about it. Oh. You guys don't get too bothered about the fan, right? Yo, basic builds. Hello. I haven't seen you in so long. I feel like, well, I miss your streams because I think your streams happen at a time when I'm not online on Twitch. But hello, how are you? How's your holidays? How are your holidays? I hope you had a good holiday season and a good turn to the year. I hope you're I think you are in school, right? Or wait, are you in school? Maybe you're not. I'm actually not sure. Are you in school? I forget. Were you taking finals? She has a master's in keyboards. Oh, sorry, in keybs. No need for normal school. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That is true. She a master. But anyway, I hope your holidays have been good. And that you're back with all the positive vibes for 2021. Basic, thank you so much for the sub. Oh, actually, Dennis, thank you so much for gifting a sub to Basic. Very nice of you. It was good. I got to see snow for the first time, and I'm still in school. Snow for the first time. Where are you that you saw snow for the first time? Unlike when you didn't see snow. I actually can't geographically locate everybody who is in the keyboard community just because I am terrible with memorizing these things. Sometimes I misplace people in the East Coast and the West Coast. But first time seeing snow is great. I remember the first time I saw snow, well, actually, I saw snow for the first time not in college, but I guess the first time I saw snow just by myself was when I was in college. And that was great. I loved it, and then I hated it very, very soon. Because I hated the ice. The icy and the slushy parts of snow are disgusting. The worst. Me and my fam went to Kentucky. Wow. But I live in Florida. Oh, I see. Oh, wow. So, yeah, no wonder you haven't seen any snow before. It was so cold. I thought I was going to lose my fingies. Oh. Kentucky, huh? It's like Midwest. Yeah, probably pretty cold. Dry, windy, cold winters there probably. Is it similar to how the top and bottom of some keyboards could be misplaced to be not matched? Are you talking about my memory? Maybe. Maybe. My memory is a big jumble. My first time seeing snow was in Toronto back in 2007. Let me tell you, it was freezing out in Toronto. I bet that was cold. Yeah, anything like near the Great Lakes? Woohoo! Oh boy. So cold. Especially with all the wind chill. That's the worst part of the Midwest, is the dry, gusty winds that like freeze you to death. Oh, so cold. But I mean, then again, I don't think I would ever move to the Midwest personally. It's not my thing. Or anywhere like, you know, near the Great Lakes. It's not the seasons I want in my year. What do you look for when you test stabs? I look for any odd sounds or ticking or binding, like any friction that causes the movement to feel unnatural. Any sounds that shouldn't be happening when you press it. I guess, yeah, that's the most important part. Just like no rattle, no odd sounds and feels, especially like rubbing between parts. Like sometimes if your spacebar wire, let's say, or your shift key wire is bent a bit, like it's distorted, it can rub against like some parts of the stab housing that cause it to really feel very rough when you press the key. So sometimes it is due to the caps as well, though. Like if you're using PBT caps, especially, PBT caps tend to warp quite a bit because of the way they expand and cool. PBT caps can just feel that way, and like you might fiddle around with your stabs all day long, but not resolve the issue because the issue is inherently a mixture of things, and you can only remedy things to the best extent possible, but you can't like completely eliminate that. So testing and working with stabs, with stabilizers, is really a matter of what's functional and workable to the best extent possible, and achieving consistency among the stabilizers and the entire board. So that way it's not like, it doesn't feel like one shift key is doing well and then the other one is really bad. Learned that I want nothing to do with weather below 40C? Wait, weather below 40C? Weather below 40C is like everywhere. I'm confused. Interesting to see how little solder you use in each hole. Really? I mean, I use just enough to form the is it convex joint. The conical solder joint is just enough. I mean, all you need to do is first maintain electrical contact between, properly flow the solder into the contacts and the pin, the pad, and then have a good quality joint form in that electrical contact, and that's just that like conical shape because it's representative of the way the solder flows into the pad, fills it, and then as it cools, forms that shape. And when you add too much, it starts like becoming a blob. Or when your solder is oxidized, or your soldering iron tip is oxidized, which is why like sometimes you have to wipe it off using your brass sponge. Your like brass sponge to remove some of that oxide. Sometimes you can notice the color of the joints or the texture of the joints is slightly different. But again, it's kind of like ballpark. Anyway, warp caps can cause wire pops too. Yes, if you have a keycap, especially a stabilized key, such as a shift key, let's say, that is very warped, and you press on the side that's very warped very hard, you basically are pushing, like, you're causing the rigidity of that key to be transferred to the other side, and it can cause the wire to pop because the wire is going to start displacing itself in a direction that it shouldn't be. So where does one pick up IMSTO keycaps? You can't, you can only pick them up in the aftermarket at this point because IMSTO was a vendor from years ago and they're no longer an active vendor, but their keycaps are actually Gateron or Enjoy PBT like keycaps. But they're just dye sublimated by actually a private source, I assume, because they never really disclosed that. But yeah, they're essentially Enjoy PBT or Gateron keycaps. But they were called IMSTO something because IMSTO was the vendor who was selling them. I think their website might still look active, but don't order anything, or I'm not sure if you even can, but if you can, don't though, because they're never gonna fulfill it. They kind of disappeared into the ether. They didn't announce they were closing, they just disappeared, so don't order or don't pay them any money. Yeah. But more solder makes the keyboard sound better. Okay. I swear USPS is purposefully taking their sweet time to deliver my packages. You might think that USPS is focused on you, but no, that's not true. I'm sure they're just taking a while to deliver everybody's stuff, honestly, because I have a lot of stuff in the mail that has been in the mail system for weeks to over a month. So yeah. Anyway, let's talk about sponsor time. And just right as I say sponsor time, look at that sponsor list come up in chat. So we can first start up with Keys. You can head on over to keys.com to check out GMK Shanshui, or I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but I'm just gonna say Shanshui or Shanshui, which is a white on black key set in the Chinese language. There's a simple Chinese and a traditional Chinese, simplified and traditional. There's basically different forms of the base kit, and there's novelties, and there's like novelty caps and like desk pads and all that stuff, all that good stuff. It's running until February 1st, so go and check that out. I will probably and most definitely purchase GMK Shine Shirt. I really like white on black and all its different variants, so it's a good set to purchase if you're looking into something classic looking and simple looking, but at the same time spiced up with some sub-legend slash fully translated, essentially, keyboard keycaps. Or I guess alternate keyboard layout or keycap set stuff. Did you get in on GMK Serika round 2? I have not yet. I would like to. So I am going to get a set of GMK Serika most likely. Even though I actually own a set of R1, but I want those fixed hiragana keys. So I will most likely purchase a hiragana set for GMK Serika round 2. And the new novelties and whatnot. Okay, so is your R1 shiny? A little bit, not too much. Not like a crazy amount, but I think it does have some use, yeah. Alright, on Canon keys we still have Cat Crusader. We also have the Tiny Makes Things desk mat. It comes in a little bunny version and a large bunny version. That's running until the 15th. There's the M7 modular keycaps. You can check those out. I think they're like aluminum modular keycaps. Then they might have in stock OA switches, lavender switches, mauve switches, and lilac linear switches. Just a variety of Durox slash JWK switches. All of them pretty smooth, pretty good. Lavender is just JWK recolors. No, lavenders are full nylon housing, I believe. JWK switches. So they're actually kind of exclusive to Canon keys and Project Keyboard. What's that? Desk lamp? Do exclamation cat lamp for more information about that. Alright, next up we have OmniType. However, right now OmniType, or formerly DixieMech.com, they're currently closed for their website due to remodeling. They're currently working on the rebranding part for the transition to the new year. So later we will see the website change from DixieMech.com to OmniType, and it's very likely that it'll redirect. But anyhow, it'll be closed for now, but it'll come back very soon, so stay tuned. Not for sale anymore? Oh, it might be just an old listing, because I bought it so long ago that there's basically a ton of the same kind on Amazon. What is that foam? This is just shelf liner. You can buy it on Amazon for like $3, or like at any like Walmart, whatever. Yeah. You can get it for really cheap. Alright, so hold up. Why do you already decide to use liner? Because it's already in it. I'm just gonna keep it in there. It was already in the board when I got it, so I'm just gonna keep it in there. Oh, come on. It went in already. There we go. Alright, so we did OmniType. Next up we have mintautumn.com. You can go on and check out mintautumn.com to see the I guess they currently don't carry any specific products, but they've run the Rukia keyboard, which is a polycarbonate case in the Alice layout. And they're currently in the process of fulfilling that particular keyboard, the round 2 group buy. And they'll Mint Autumn, they're currently working on developing polyethylene made cases. So they'll come in different formats, different layouts, but it's been in the works. Injection molding is very expensive of a process, and it requires a lot of research and development, but it's something that it's in the works. So you can head on over and check out mintautumn.com for more details on their socials and their projects. All right, great. So key tester, this matrix. Okay. Next up, didn't know the XENO came with liner. No, it didn't come with liner. Yeah, this is not like a keyboard that came in right from the group buy. This is a keyboard that came directly from a client who asked me to desolder and rebuild with a different build setup. So the liner was already there from either the time they bought it from somebody else or they put it in. I don't know. Yeah. So no, shelf liner is not included. I mean, shelf liner you can just buy like at any store anyway. So, all right. Next up we have novel keys. You can head on over to novelkeys.xyz. You can purchase any in-stock product for 5% off if you use the promo code Thunder on checkout. And currently on group buy at Novel Keys, we have Serika Round 2, for which we have the last 2 days, 3 days actually, I guess 2 days of the group buy. It ends on January 7th. So on January 7th, Serika Round 2 is closing. It comes in 2 different base kit configurations, includes numpad and all the compatibility you might need for only $110 for the full base kit. There's also novelties and other metallic novelties as well, desk mats, etc., etc. A lot of collaborative projects with Rama, Salvin, among others. Check out Serika Round 2 on Novel Keys. We also have the Teha Types desk mat, which is running until this Friday, which is the 8th. Is there anything to look out for when buying secondhand switches? Just, I guess you can ask your seller what they think of the switches, and I guess if it's a particular weight that you want and whatnot. I mean, not much. I mean, I think normally it's pretty self-explanatory because it's like what it says there is what it is. But it's hard to know how they feel. For example, like all you can trust is whatever they tell you. So. Oh, Champ Lemon, hello. What's up, my friend? How are you? Alright, next up, we have Essay Recall on Novel Keys as well. We also have the Breaking Bad collaboration with Novel Keys, which is running until the end of the month. There's different desk mat designs on novelkeys.xyz. There's the GMK Awaken set by Mr. Bip. There's the NK65 Awaken edition, which is a special NK65 collaboration done in adjunct with in conjunction with the GMK Awaken key set. And then there's some new switches like the Kale Polia switches, which are apparently similar to like Halo True, Halo Clear. Like they have a tactile stem that you can use for assembly of Holy Panda like switches. And the Gateron cap switches, I believe Nathan reviewed those. I personally haven't tried them. So I cannot say much about it. And there's also Novel Keys has started selling switch films as well. They're 0.15mm, which is the same as TX films. So you may check those out as well. Hyphen looking clean. Yeet. Just woke up. Oh, I see. Next up, you can head on over to Prime Keyboards, primekb.com/lightning. Over there you can purchase Durox stabilizers, alpaca switches, and silent alpaca switches whenever they stock, Prime E related components, as well as some key sets and other keyboard related accessories such as lube stations and switch openers and whatnot. Prime Keyboards will also be doing the Meridian pre-order, or the Meridian in-stock buy rather, in this first quarter. Currently the date is not announced, but it's a collaboration project with AI03, so I highly suggest checking out Keycaps for more information on that. They also will be having all palm made switches directly from Durox/JWK, so all palm housing JWK switches, also the first quarter of 2021. Also more details to come soon. Novelties won't let you buy Serika base and Decima in one order? I'm not sure. Do they? Not? They must have changed that. I guess maybe they have a different policy compared to other stores. But the Decimats normally ship sooner. So that's probably why, actually. Yeah, actually that's probably why, because of storage space. Okay, I mean, I have to flip this over anyway, so... I need to check whether the daughter board is... the cable is in the way. Come on. Alright, that's it. Okay. Alright, next up we have, after Prime Keyboards, we have Project Keyboard. You can head over to projectkeyboard.com/lightning. Actually, wait, no. Projectkeyboard.com. You can check out GMK Stealth. It's currently running, along with Desmans and some Rama Keycap collaborations. And they also have lavender switches, I believe. And currently on pre-order, they should still have Noir, Perestroika maybe, and GMK Sumi I think might be on pre-order now. Ooh, actually I think that daughter board cable's caught right now, so I'm gonna just check again. Do you swap in Milky Tops if a switch is too loud or high pitched? Generally speaking, maybe. Yeah, you could think of it that way. I think it's for most people is whether they like the sound of Milky Tops. But yeah, you could think of it that way if you find the sound of your current switch housing to be very like clacky or loud on the bottom out. now it's actually closed. All right. Next up, you can check out Salvin.com, your favorite EU vendor for Wilbitech PCBs. Salvin is also a CNC machinist based in Belgium, now officially collaborating with Keycaps. You can also check out Keycaps' different projects at keycaps.com. I'm not sponsored by them, but Salvin works with Keycaps directly and has and will be working with them in the future to produce Keycaps products. Salvin also does collaborations with Hungerworks Studio for the synth, artisan keycap, artisan mold, making device. And he also does a lot of novelty keys made out of different metals for collaborations with other keycap set designers and so on and so forth. Finally, you can head on over to Space Cables at spaceholdings.net. The link is if you say exclamation sponsors, you can find all of the links. But currently we have the Bruh mat running until the 7th, the same day that GMK Serika is actually going to end. On spaceholdings.net, we have the Bruh mat, which is the Glarsis mat. This mat comes in different colors. That ends in 2 days. We have Serika cables, we have Bento cables, we have Crusader cables, and Awaken cables currently running, I believe. And there will be more projects coming soon to Space Cables, so check them out. Alright. Salvin go burr. Yeet. Alright, let's see. Explain to me what weight would be close to MX Red springs. I think like 65 gram bottom out is similar to MX Red. I think, or 55 or 60. I think that's what people say. For bottom out. I think GAT yellows are slightly heavier. Maybe they're like between 60 and 65 for GAT yellows. Do you think I could turn alpaca silent linears into standard alpacas by taking off the dampers on the stem? Theoretically, you can, but whether it will work very well in practice, I cannot be sure. Which keyboard or keycap set are you looking forward to this year? Keyboard, I'm looking forward to SAR by Zambamon. I'm looking forward to Rogue by Ion Keyboard by Poner. What else? Parallax, the collaboration between Ion and AIO3. I still want to get a thermal, but we'll see. Those are some keyboards that I'm looking forward to. Keycap set. Promo code? I have no promo code for Space Cables. Keycap sets though, I don't know. There's so many. I haven't. Oh, GMK Tuesday. That's something I'm looking forward to. GMK Wise Wolf eventually. What else was I looking forward to? I don't remember what else. I guess Striker round 2 maybe? Although I already have round 1, so I'm not sure how much I want that. But I do want New Hiragana though, so it's kind of tempting. Shen Shui just gone up? Yeah. I've mentioned it before. Give me 1 second. Alright, what keyset do we want to put on this XENO? I think I'm done with keys. Oh, muted round 2. That's right. Muted round 2. That's happening soon. I see. I don't remember all these key sets. There's so many out there. But yeah, it's hard to remember all of them. I have a lot of key sets already. Yeah. Do Serika versus Zambu? Ooh, I have to get Serika from my other board. But yeah, I could do Serika. I could do Serika. Serika would be lit. CRP would also be lit. I don't have CRP at round 3. Have you tried FFF linears? I have not. Nope. I have not tried them. Because I didn't buy any. So. We could do Serika. So, Serika? Are we decide with that? I can do Serika. I need to go get Serika though. Are the alphas in Serika round 2 more of a cream color compared to alphas from round 1? No, Serika is going to be the exact same. Serika round 2 is going to have the exact same colors. The colors are fine. There's no there's no plans on changing the colors. The colors are going to remain the same. That's why it's a round 2 after all. Anyway, let me go get Serika. I'll be right back, okay? Whoa, my camera is like slow. Okay, there we go. All right. GMK Serika. Let's move over some keycaps. I have this is my TGR 910 with the GMK Serika. To transfer over keycaps. We can probably just transfer over the artisans too, actually. Oh, full touch. Oops. Forgot about full touch. Poor 910 is naked. Looks good naked though, right? I wish I liked brass plates. To each their own for sure. You rarely see 910 polycarb these days, really. A lot of people were... I remember when people got theirs, a lot of people were trading it because they were like, I like the aluminum version better. And I was like, well, that's cool. I personally like the polycarb version a lot. But, it's pretty unique and I actually loved it. I have a long history with the polycarb 910. I was initially offered to participate in... It was technically a private buy for the 910 polycarb. I was offered a slot. Yutzi offered a slot to me. And I was, at the time, I was like, oh, cool. Like, I saw the pictures. I mean, like, the samples. And I was like, oh, polycarb, okay. And then I was like, oh, at the time, I actually, like, just didn't have much money. Like, I couldn't really, like, afford to buy a lot of stuff. And so I was like, oh, you know, I think I'm gonna pass on it because I actually would want to wait for your other boards, like your other releases. And I was like, you know, I'll just wait and it's okay, I'll pass. So I passed on it. And then later when the first few of the polycarb boards came out, I deeply regretted my decision because it just looks so good with the brass. Like it just looks so nice. And I was like, wow, like that actually is so versatile. It looks really good. I personally am not a 65% kind of guy, right? Like I'm not like I don't main a 65%, so to speak. It's not like the layout of choice for me, and so that's why I passed on it initially, right? Like it was like not my layout of choice. Don't have enough money. This was like back in like 2018 or whatever. And so you know, I was just like, oh, like, you know, like I just thought like, oh, okay, like it looks great and all that. And then, you know, obviously I had regretted a lot, and like at this point I couldn't go back on my word. So yeah. Eventually I got one because I had to look. It took me a long time because obviously once people got them, they wanted to sell it for a ton of money or whatever, right? So yeah, it took me a while. Eventually I got one. I got one for like a, you know, pretty good deal. So, but yeah, that's my story. But I mean, for me, I base my decisions on getting boards based on like whether I'm gonna use it or whether I visualize how I want to use the board. At the time, I didn't. I was just like, I don't have money to justify it, first of all. And number two, I just don't think I'm gonna use it much. That was it. Like for me, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna use it much. Like this keyboard. And so that's what it was. It's too bad. I don't have enough artisans to use, but maybe I can fill it up with something else. Maybe we can just keep these out. I'll keep these two out actually. Or actually, I'm gonna. The Popsy matches so nicely though. I'm just gonna do this. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep these two out. And we have home. Page up, page down, and end. There we go. But yeah, like, you know, I didn't think, like, I'm not the kind to think like, oh, it's gonna be a great investment for the future. Like, that was just not it for me. I was just like, am I gonna use the board or not? And the answer at the time was, I can't justify the money, and no. So I was just like, okay, I'm good. Thank you so much for the offer. Like, you know, like whatever it cost, it was like $400 or something like that. I was just like, it's just too much money right now. I can't spend it. Like, I have to pay for school or whatever. Like, yeah, it's tough. Back then 400 is 1,000 today with inflation, but that's the thing, right? Like, you don't think of group buy or retail prices in terms of aftermarket, right? Like, you don't think about whether you're gonna purchase it or not based on. I don't think it that way, at least. Like, I personally don't really care, because it's like, it's the money I pay now, right? And the question is, do I have this money that I can pay right now? Like, that I have to pay right now, rather. And if the answer is no, then it makes things a lot clearer. But like, cause you know, you can't really predict the future. You don't know that, right? Like, yeah, the popularity of a brand can last a long time, specifically like very well-known brands and stuff. But yeah, like if you don't have the money, then. And yeah, not seeing it in real life obviously was a big factor for me. Like, I didn't know better. Alright. Me, I don't like 65%. I ordered 2020 me. I ordered Space 65, Vega, Constellation, D65 all in 4 months of each other. Holy crap. That's a lot of 65s though. What are you paid it? Can't be as much as they're going for now. Yeah, for sure. So still a win. Yeah. I mean, if you think of it that way, sure. It sure is. Let's put this aside for now. And plug this guy in. Alright. Nice. I'm actually gonna have to take this out of the way because make me a little nervous. Going into saving mode now. Yes. Tempest, hello. Keyboards make me happy, but also make me sad. I mean, that's why I'm in the hobby, right? Because they do make me happy. Like, I like keyboards. Oh, that's right. I forgot to open monkey type. So let me open that up. 30% of people who bought 265 thought of the aftermarket price. I'm sure, yeah. I'm sure a lot of people did. But yeah. For me, it's really about usability. Like, I need to visualize what I'm going to get and feel like I am going to build it, knowing that I want to use it, even if it's for a bit. Or like a certain look. I think that's normally what I go for now. I want something for a certain look. Of course, the typing experience, all that matters a lot, and it's factored in. But it's like a new configuration that I might want, you know, or maybe I just want to support that particular vendor, designer, whatever it might be. Yeah. Let's see, where is my typing test? Okay. Oh, perfect. Perfect. All right. Let's see. The sound of a properly lubed and mounted keyboard is priceless. Yeah, a nicely built keyboard. 265 was $800 retail too. Just don't forget that the 265 that was $800 was the one with the brass bottom. The brass bottom is a big chunk of brass, pretty, and like it's also machined. Like there's like a lot of machining stuff going on with the brass bottom, so there's quite a lot there to it. The aluminum one is actually, did they sell any aluminum ones? Not yet, right? So once they start selling the aluminum ones, it's gonna be they're gonna be significantly cheaper than 800. So hockey fans, I'm not into hockey. Well, I don't know too much about hockey, unfortunately. I know about the Islanders that are in New York because a friend of mine is a huge fan of the Islanders. I like low profile cases. I feel like a minority. That's okay. Having your own preferences is good. You should embrace those. Don't feel like you're left out just because you like a specific thing. I think you should be okay embracing those preferences. Alright. So, we currently have a XENO with Holy T1s. You can see all the specs with exclamation build and on a brass plate. Alright, cool. Here we go. Try again. Need to like warm up. Oh, 121, meh. Spacebar is noise. Mod pipe. Preferences allowed with everything except mod pipe. I just think mod pipe is just a poor preference just because it doesn't match up with what the pipe key is supposed to be, right? But I mean, again, preferences. Do you do you. Spacebar kind of sounds like ringing, right? Like it's kind of like ringing. It's probably because I like slap it a bit. Alright. Also, why can't I hear this properly on my earbuds? Alright. Here are the mods. Very high-pitched sound. Definitely sounds like the housing is contributing a lot to that. Like that T1 housing must be the sound of that, like high-pitched, or not high-pitched, but like, yeah, sort of high-pitched, yeah, relatively high-pitched. It's not crazy high-pitched, but you can definitely hear the housing kind of popping a bit. Also, super tactile switches like these are always fairly loud. And like Inver Panda, Holy Panda switches are definitely very different sounding. Yawk Pandas as well, like basically like the Kale housing stuff is very... Kale or Inver like housing stuff is like very different. I like the spacebar sound though. It definitely, if I like, you can like kind of hear a bit of the. I'm not sure if reverb, but like a bit of the spacebar sort of like twanging a bit because it's like going up pretty fast. When I just like let it go. So T1 housing sounds like a clack. What does slow mean? Longer spring? So slow springs are, I think someone explained it earlier. Basically, it's I got it the opposite way, so that's why I'm just gonna like look it up and explain it. Slow means it's preloaded, so it's like a linear curve, but it starts at a higher force, basically. So if you go on the Sprit website, you can see a graph of that. But basically, slow is going to start at a higher resistance at the very beginning and just linearly approaches the bottom out weight. I hear a sharp sound from the top housing and I love it. Yeah, it definitely has a sharp sound to it. Like if I'm gonna just like type slowly. Oops. Anyway, you always have such precise answers. I just don't want to say something and it being wrong. that's like one thing I just don't like. Like I don't want to sound like I'm spewing nonsense. Everyone makes mistakes though when explaining things. I certainly am not. I think I ramble a lot and I go around things a lot just because I don't always find the right words to say it. But yeah, I do prefer being accurate with the knowledge part of things. Do you use the Sony A6400 as a face cam or your desk cam? This is A6400 right here, webcam right there. So webcam is my face cam and the A6400 is my desk cam. Yepers. Let's see. What do you think of stacked acrylic boards? I think stacked acrylic boards can be like a little bit underrated, but they're actually pretty good. They're like a cheaper alternative which can actually, if you know how to design them or know someone who is good at designing them, they actually can allow you to use a lot of different layouts very easily and like relatively in an inexpensive manner. I personally think acrylic boards can sound really good because of plastic housing. Plastic housing sound very different from aluminum housings, and so I personally would be okay owning an acrylic board and would probably be happy with it when you have decent build in it. But yeah, like I built the Discipline, which is all acrylic too, and it was great. I really liked the Discipline that I built. Ever tried koala switches? I've tried them once. It was a while back though. They were also like tactile switches, like Holy Panda clones, sort of. These are more like Zelios. T1s are, I think once you lube these, they're pretty tactile, but I think Zelio is what Zelios tend to be the most tactile. Zelio V2s specifically, and then like T1s and like Holy Pandas come right around about the same as far as sharp tactility goes. Keyblade is sick. Keyblade is a very fun concept for sure. Same with like this land and like a few other things. There's a bunch of different like trying to see if how do I control the RGB? Sorry, looking at the key map functions here. Is this the right key? I might have to flash the PCB again to get the RGB right. I think it just has old firmware. I'll do it later. It's not a problem. The keyboard's working fine. What is your #1 switch? I have a lot of switches that I like. Fab switches. I like Topre, I like MX Blacks, Ergo Clears, MX Browns, Orange Alps, Blue Alps. J2K linears are pretty good in general. Inks, Modems, Buckling Spring. Yeah. I have an old Cherry Clear board, little protein shape. You should keep it. You can use the MX Clears. MX Clears are great. I like Ergo Clears. Ergo Clears are going to be just a Cherry MX Clear. Basically lighter springs are called Ergo Clears. Like ergonomic isn't like more easily typable. So that's why Ergo Clears. Ergo Clears are great. I personally recommend that you would lube them. I personally don't like lubing the front legs, so it keeps the tactility. So I just lube the sides of the stem, and I spring swap and put switch films. Don't roast me, but for my first build, I want to mix banana split switches and silent reds. That's fine. I mean, Crucifix asks a fine question, like why though? But I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's okay. That's fine. I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with it if that's what you want. Look, the hobby is all about trying things that you want to try out and experimenting with it and figuring out what you end up liking. It takes time, and if you're detracted from trying those things when you want to try them, just because other people will judge you, you're not gonna get anywhere. You'll end up being just like everybody else, and at the same time, you'll kind of fool yourself to think that that is the best thing for you. But everybody has preferences on those things. Some people just like ergo, like ergo boards, like ergo layout boards. Some people just stick to clicky. Some people just don't even use MX switches at all. So I highly recommend that if you feel like experimenting a certain way, do it. Absolutely pursue it. Like, when people try to, people might tell you like it's a bad idea If it's a bad idea out of just preference sake, for preference sake, you don't have to listen to them. If it's a bad idea because you'll like damage a component, or like you're buying the wrong components for your build or something like that, you basically like can't build properly, or like you're doing something wrong, like in a more technical way, like something that would like completely stifle your efforts to building a keyboard for yourself, then you should listen to other people. But don't mind what people tell you just because the meta is vintage black or JWK linears and aluminum, like half aluminum or half polycarb plate with gasket mount, or whatever that is. Okay, that meta doesn't need to apply to everybody. Just do your thing. Try your things first. You can figure out whether the meta is for you or not later on. Especially when you attend the meetups. That's when you start getting to explore a lot more too. But yes, you could do what Crucifix said. Trying one type of switch on the modifiers and one type of switch on the alphas. That's a good way to distinguish the two kinds of switches. Because some of the alphas you use a lot, and the modifiers you only use to modify the alphas. But it's a good way to completely separate the two. I actually want to make my own switches. I'll probably go with the NK cream housing and the dragon fruit switch. Cool. LA meetup was where I got to try a few switches I wanted to try. Yeah. Attending meetups is a super great way to figure out those preferences. Rip to the people that got into hobby this past year and couldn't go to a meetup. Yeah, that's for sure. Topri on the alphas, MX blues on the mods. Imagine if you could combine Topri and MX, that would be crazy. That would be really crazy. Are you allowing people to explore mod pipe? Yeah. They can use it. Doesn't mean I like it. Yeah. I think like, I personally think it's wrong, but if they don't think it's wrong, then it's fine. But, whatever. It's okay. Do people have any specific questions, concerns, or things that they want to bring up for me to, like, to talk about, or just, like, anything? Just in case. Before I, wrap things up. I mean, if not, I'm going to wrap things up. But if there is something to talk about, or if you want to talk about anything, guys, like, I have time. So, yeah. Don't express your mod pipe preference here. I mean, I jokingly, like, will time out people who express preference for mod pipe. Or, like, split backspace on TKL or something like that. But, yeah, I mean, you do you. Whatever. Thoughts on MX Hyperglides? MX Hyperglides, I've only tried one batch of them, and I actually have not soldered them onto a keyboard. I just lubed them for a client, and they seem pretty smooth. My first impression was that they're pretty smooth overall. Some people say that they would want to cherry pick them because they feel that some of them are not as consistent as the others, but I personally didn't mind not cherry picking. But like every cherry switch specifically, cherry switches tend to have a lot of variance. So just mind that if you're buying any cherry MX switches, you might find some variation. So. Okay, hold up. How do you reach a split backspace on TKL? Split backspace would just go here. Here's what split backspace would be. Tornado, when people split backspace, they put the backspace here. I hope you're watching Tornado. And then these keys become, normally it's going to be pipe and tilde. Pipe and tilde, and then backspace is here. Or sometimes people will put delete here sometimes. But split backspace is it's based on the HHKB layout, where the backspace or the backspace button moves here to the pipe position, and the pipe position goes up. it makes it closer to your pinky or your ring finger, depending on what you use to go this way. So I don't have good finger dexterity. Just takes practice. I always finger dexterity comes from practicing slow. Start slow, and just like go on to like keybr.com or like typing.com. They basically have exercises for like home row technique, and just practice slowly and accurately. Once you become accurate, you can start speeding up. Got the lavenders. Got them after watching your stream. Excited to lube them up. Nice, very nice. Lavenders, they're pretty good. The time I tried them with the SAT75. Anyway, Matt, mind sharing about Flexi typing experience hype. So many people think like flex is equal good. Okay, sure. I actually have a good way to exemplify that. I'll be right back. Let me get a few keyboards, I guess. Alright, so let me show you. So what people will talk about flexi typing experience, right? So for example here, okay, so alright, so let's see. I have 3 keyboards here. You don't need to mind what they are specifically. Like, I mean, this is the XENO here. This is a polycarb gasket 00 with a half plate build, and this is a tray mount called Duck Mini. But basically, this is a tray mount case, just like the Clipe or the Fiel. Okay. So a lot of people will tell you, oh, tray mount's bad because it has a lot of rigidity because of the mounting points, on inside of the tray, right? Now, tray mount is not necessarily bad because it depends on how you do your build. Okay, in my case, right, the way I averted that issue, like, or not issue, but something that may be unwanted, like I said, okay, maybe I want less rigidity and I want to go for something that is still a nice typing experience, it's a bit softer. A way you can soften a lot of that bottom out is, first of all, you can change the material of your plate. Okay, so you can try, instead of, let's say, stainless steel or brass, which are normally very dense and very hard when you bottom out on them, you can try polycarbonate or aluminum. Aluminum is somewhere in the middle. Polycarbonate, for example, or POM, or any plastics, like plastic materials, those are going to be much softer, and they're going to, they have a bit of flexibility, right? And so, for example, in this case, right, you can see I have a polycarb plate. These are ergo clears, actually. So these are MX clears with a lighter spring, 62 gram spring, and that's a half plate. That's a half plate polycarbonate, right? And in my case, that helped a lot in making this board feel a lot flexier. So you can see, I mean, like, it's not significant, but like, I mean, like, it's this board actually has an amount of flexibility because of that. And it's not about, remember, flexibility is not about this displacement, okay? It's not about how much it goes down when you press hard, because in reality, you'd never press that hard. You never press that hard on your keyboard when you're typed like that. What really matters is that when you're typing, does it feel softer or harder? Okay? So in this particular build, Like I'm using these tactile switches, and these are like, I'm already softening the bottom out by using a softer plate material and half plate. So instead of full plate, there's a half plate. So all this middle portion here, the Q row, the A row, and the Z row, all the way here, all of these have no plate in between, so therefore less material to press against, and therefore softer. Right now, and this is a tray mount, so there's a limitation to it. Yes, in a tray mount, you can only go you can only go so far in terms of softening your bottom out. Sorry. Ah, some dust. Do you have tips on lubing switches without desoldering? I've never done it, so no. If your plate supports switch top opening, you can do that. But otherwise, I personally have never lubed switches without desoldering, unless you can open the switch. Yeah. Scrubby Sean, hello. And then okay, so here this is a gasket double O with a polycarbonate case and a polycarbonate half plate. So same half plate, right? But now look at this PCB. This PCB, I'm just drinking water. This PCB has this big, large cut. People call that like a flex cut or whatever, PCB cut, which basically causes this PCB to, well, like this part will, like parts will sink in more. If you press here, like you can see how that PCB is bending a bit when I press really hard. Of course, it doesn't matter that you're pressing hard here, right? But when you're typing, it's going to make a difference because it allows a bit of the PCB to bend and relieve some of that tension. And in this particular case, right? In this particular case, well, actually, where can I show it? In this particular case, there's an O-ring gasket, right? An O-ring gasket runs around it and basically is sandwiching. I mean, it's basically running around between the PCB and the plate. And the top and bottom pieces sandwich the O-ring, and the O-ring is basically providing friction and like it compresses because it's sandwiched between the two parts of the case. And so basically the plate assembly is being held by that O-ring at the edges. So people say like gasket mount is softer because you're using this compressible material to hold your PCB plate assembly. Do people care about what I'm talking about? Am I just lecturing at this? Am I ranting to nobody? I think this is uninteresting for people. Anyway, so as you can see, different configurations here. I mean, like, I'm using a tray mount here, and I'm using a gasket mount here, and this one has this flex cut, which exacerbates that bounciness a whole ton more. And here there's a tray mount, which I have softened a bit of the bottom out by using a half plate, and by using a polycarb plate. Sure, this is much bouncier than this one, but when I type on this one, I still feel like I'm typing on a much less harsh keyboard for the bottom mount. Now, compare that to a top mount here. Hey, Beery! Hello! Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Soldered over hot swap? I mean, soldered over hot swap? I mean, soldered gives you flexibility for layouts. Hot swap has its benefits. You can, change your switches easily and all that. But the problem is it fixes your layout to whatever the hot swap sockets are on. So yeah, that's the main issue with it. Why did I open accidentally this program? I clicked on something. Sorry. I don't want my computer memory to like... Alright, this is very helpful. Okay, good. Okay, so now in this case we have a full plate top mount build. So in top mount, right, you guys saw earlier that the plate has tabs with screws serving as the points at which the plate attaches to the case, right? So in this in in top mount, the screws can attach to the top case here, and that's how the plate assembly remains in place. Same bottom mount is just the opposite, just stays on the bottom case, it just screws into them. And so, well, screws are pretty hard, so like it's very nicely and firmly fixed in there, but this whole middle part, like it could bend a bit, right, depending on like your plate material, for example, right? So one thing I would think about when you use any keyboard is your plate material. Like that's really going to change a lot how that keyboard feels, specifically how like it feels when you're typing and you're bottoming out on your switches or whatever, right? It's going to make a huge difference no matter what, whether it's a tray mount, whether it's a gasket mount, whether it's a top mount or bottom mount, doesn't matter. Your plate material is going to change that feeling a lot. Whether you use a full plate or a half plate will change a lot, specifically the alphas, right? The alphas, the difference between the alphas and the mods is going to be a much more stark difference. So there's that. But yeah, so I normally will decide those factors based on full or half, or polycarb versus aluminum, or polycarb versus brass. For example, I think that it's pointless to make a half brass plate because brass is already so rigid. So like the mods are gonna feel like really like rock solid, and this part in the middle, like because the plate, like in the top mount case, when you have like a half brass plate, for example, the brass plate is gonna be so like rigid, even if when it's attached here, that not like even if you're pressing against like the PCB, like let's say in the half plate middle part, like in the alphas where there's only a PCB below the switch, it won't give because the plate's holding onto those switches at the edges. So the PCB won't have the ability to actually move, or like the ability to actually relieve that tension. So it's gonna still feel pretty rigid. So the material of the plate matters a lot. Probably matters the most. Yeah, okay. Which do you prefer, O-ring mount or gasket isolation sandwich mount? So you're saying like, for example, like Key Cult, where it uses the gasket strips or the O-ring. I personally, I don't think I care as much. I think both are essentially the same, in the sense that both pretty much are trying to hold, both are trying to do the same thing. They're trying to hold the PCB plate assembly between, in between this top and bottom housing of the case at a certain distance, right? Held by the edges by some rubbery material that can compress, a compressible rubbery material. They both achieve that. I think that the isolation sandwich mount gives you a bit more flexibility in the sense that like you can actually purposefully place the position of the gaskets. Like, you know, if you're a keyboard designer, you can actually like figure out where you want those compression points and tabs, right? Like they're like normally in gasket isolation mount, you have those tabs, right? They put these tabs and there's gasket strips on top and the bottom of the plate or the case, and you basically have determined places where you can put compressible material in, and you can also determine how much that material compresses based on whatever material you get. So that foam could actually be 30% compressible when you're typing normally, or 50% compressible when you're typing, or maybe it's just really dense foam and it's just not going to compress. Even if you did gasket mount, it's still going to feel like it's just attached to the case, like rock solid. So in my opinion, whether it's O-ring or isolation, I try to not judge that based on that. I would probably just try both and use one. I think both are going to achieve the same purpose, which is just having that compressible material that you can to basically allow the assembly to move based on that compression. So it kind of feels like a trampoline. That's what gasket mount does. It's like it represents like a trampoline. And same thing with like you guys have heard of like leaf spring plates, right? It's the same idea, right? It uses thin strips of like that plate material, and then it has cutouts to basically relieve some of that tension so that it's held by those rigid points, and then where there are cutouts, it allows the rest of the assembly to move, and so it releases that tension, and therefore it becomes like a bouncing board. Hot swap reliability is meh. I think hot swap reliability is okay if you can be careful. I think hot swap is fine. First of all, hot swap is dependent on whether the hot swap sockets are properly assembled onto the PCB when the PCB is assembled. But you know, some factories might maybe just not do a good job for that for PCB assembly. So yeah, it probably depends on that, how it comes out from the factory. John, thank you so much for the... Wait, John. Oh, I see. Dennis, thank you so much for gifting a tier 1 sub to John. Glizzo, thank you so much for gifting a tier 1 sub to Gavin. Okay. Maybe you like the stiff feel but like the sound though. Yeah. So some people will use brass because they just really like the sound of brass. The bottom out, the density of that plate material can also change the sound. Yeah, and also like full and half is obvious, right? Like full plate, you have a lot more material in between your keycaps and the bottom part of the case, right? So that the sound is gonna travel in different directions. So, what's the cheapest keyboard you've built? The cheapest keyboard I've built is I just desoldered an old pre-built, like I think it was a Cooler Master one that I had. That was the cheapest. It cost me nothing technically. So, but desoldering was a pain in the butt because I was not too good at it back then. Go for reliable PC makers or hot swap. Yeah. I don't mind hot swap, but I still prefer solder for some reason. You prefer solder because it gives you the flexibility for layouts, and there definitely is stigma about hot swap. So I personally think hot swap is good if you want the features of hot swap, the fact that you can quickly remove and put in switches. If you're going to assemble your board once and never touch it again, hot swap is you're going to defeat the purpose of hot swap, right? But if you want that board to try out different switches or experiment with it, it's great. And if you don't mind the layout, it has fixed for it. Is that Corey Trash Panda? Yes. Anyway, do you get samples for Dolce R5 Blue? Yeah, Jeff Leopard, yes, Dolce R5 samples are currently with Project Keyboard. I sent out the RAL color chip over to Project Keyboard and they'll be testing colors. Yeah. Just tuned in, what's a middle board? This is a Gasket 00 with half plate. I've tried brass and alu. I need to try polycarb. Other plastic. I need to try FFR. Yeah. I mean, try things. Try new things. K Durs G. Thank you so much for the Prime Gaming sub. I have commitment issues. You can fix. Yeah, you can fix stabs if something happens. Yeah, absolutely. Those are benefits of hot swap that you probably can't forgo if you actually think that you're going to be, changing things up. Thoughts on GK61? No real thoughts because I haven't I am not very well versed with the OEM stuff, but a lot of people do recommend the GK61. Like a lot of you have had the GK61, and that's an option you do get for a budget option. But I personally, for anything off the shelf, I prefer Leopold. I prefer I think for custom keyboards, I prefer any of the KBD fans options are actually excellent for beginner. In custom mechanical keyboards, specifically those who want to build their own keyboard, I think it's great. But if you want to go for something pre-built that's off the shelf, I personally would much rather purchase a Philco, a Leopold, similar things like that. Even the Vermillo. Try all the things, yes. Can you desolder budget boards to switch out the switches? Yeah, that's how I actually started doing MX stuff. I desoldered my Cooler Master stuff and would rebuild my Cooler Master. I had MX Browns and I tried MX Reds and so on. What's your favorite plate? I think I like the middle ground of aluminum, so I like aluminum the best probably. But polycarb is a close favorite, especially polycarb half plates I really like because it offers both the flexibility and the fact that it's a half plate is going to even emphasize that a lot further. Definitely has a different sound profile to it. I can't really explain what the exact difference is. Sometimes it's a bit more, it's a bit deeper. Sometimes it's actually a bit more clackier. Depends on the case actually, because everything affects sound. So, can pre-builds accept those 5-pin switches though? Many of them don't. Some of them do. Many of them don't. For those who don't, you can actually clip the two pins, the two plastic pegs on both sides. You can actually clip those using flush cutters and use those as a... You basically are making 5-pin switches into 3-pin and using those. You can do that. I have a really cheap 60% board. I just want to just experiment. Yeah, you should go ahead and do that if you're okay with, like, you know, you are potentially risking, like, burning a pad or whatever, or making it not work, right? Definitely. But if you want to try it, you should absolutely try. You know, of course, you can practice first. Is it always true that you should go brass plate if you plan on using tactile switches to maintain its tactile feel? No. Not always. No, not necessarily. Tactile switches might... well, the tactile feel actually comes in the middle of the switch travel. So you will actually still feel the tactility. The only thing that, for example, might change from changing the plate material is like when you bottom out, or when the spring is like springing back up, it might feel a little bit different with the different plate material. But it's not gonna be like, I don't think it's going to be like a dramatic difference that will be like, oh, life, you know, it's a deal breaker. Like a Holy Panda in a brass plate is still gonna feel like a Holy Panda in a polycarb plate, right? Yeah. But something as soft as an MX Brown that has very, very light tactility might actually feel a lot more diminished in a very soft plate, but at the same time, it does not necessarily mean that in a brass plate it's not gonna, like, it's going to become like a much more tactile switch or something like that. It's not it. Bottom out is, remember, tactility comes in the middle of the travel, and like in the middle of the travel meaning on the way down and then on the way up. Well, sometimes on the way up, but yeah, on the way down particularly. So yeah, and then bottom out is just the act of fully going all the 4 millimeters of travel, and then like back up. All right, well, I think I answered a lot of questions, so if there's no other questions, I'll probably just go ahead and see who's currently streaming. FR4 is becoming more trendy. FR4 is becoming trendy, you know why? Because FR4 is a cheap material to use. PCBs are not, well, FR4 is not an expensive material, for, like, you know, you can just have them done at a PCB manufacturer, which they can produce in high volume, and so FR4 is cheap and easily producible, so that's why it's popular, becoming popular. Tiny is still online. Oh, cool. Let's see. I'm looking at who's online. T-Pain's online. We can rate T-Pain. Just kidding. T-Pain has too many viewers. Tiny, Jinte. We rated Jinte before. Chubbies, and Dr. Huru is also currently online. I Am Me, You Are You is online. Franco is online. Disco Crocodile is online. Man, there's a lot of people. Brocklina, Hayashi. There's a lot of people. You guys can take a pick. You guys would like. Would you guys want me to raid Tiny or any of these other keyword streamers? They're a good size to start out with budget-friendly parts for a board. I personally prefer KVD fans for a lot of the custom mechanical keyboard stuff, but I believe if you look at RMK, there are some people who have written like accessible, like some of the there's like available pre-builts out there, like references for that stuff, like links and like cheaper kits that you can like get on like AliExpress or whatever. And get like a very, very basic kit. But personally, I think I'm going to KVD fans and check what they have too. I think they make pretty decent products at the price point they are. The stem of the switch will affect the field. Yeah. The tactile bump on a Cherry MX is going to be from the stem, and the leaf of the switch leaf, the bottom housing leaf, might determine that too. If you look up like Holy Panda versus Zelios, there's gonna be like pictures of the switch leaf, and they're showing like this like bend of the switch leaf of the metallic part, and depending on that, you can also modify a bit of the tactility feel, like of the downstroke and the upstroke. But that's because it interacts with the stem that has this like curvy part, where the tactile bump is coming in. Anyway, I hope I've answered all the questions you guys have. We can raid Tiny. Raid Tiny? Yes? Yay or nay? Yay or nay? What's the raid message? Let's see. What's the raid message? Let's see. What should we do? Raid message. Let's see. I'm very bad at these. Oh my god, what's the raid message? Small bunny Desmat best Small bunny best bunny. Or is it a rabbit? Or is it a bunny? Or whatever, it's the same thing, right? I think it's listed as bunny. Yeah, small bunny best bunny. Something like that. Short and sweet. Because she's running a deathmat group by on Canon Keys. Alright, let's raid Tiny. Oh my god. So some of you can spam lightning raid, and I can spam small bunny best bunny. Yeah, we can mix it up. Half of you can do one, half you can do the other. Alright friends. Again, if you have any questions, you can always join. You can check out my socials. I have a Discord server where I answer questions too. You can check out my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my Twitter. Yeah, so join the Discord if you have any specific questions for me. I try to answer them as best as I can. Otherwise, just hop into stream whenever I come back live. I'm busy for the next few weeks, so don't expect me to stream too many times, but I'll try to do so whenever I have some free time. Alrighty, thank you everyone. I'll see you guys next time. Alright, let's go raid Tiny. See ya.